What? Can you guys hear? My voice is like completely gone. Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about how you can show up as your authentic self. My voice has gone away a little bit and I don't know why, because I've kind of been like dressing up quite warmly, so just wanted to clear that up. If you hear like a raspy voice today, then that's that. But yeah, today we're going to talk about how you can show up as your authentic self. We as a society tend to go along with these trends that we have nowadays. It's very popular to like dress trendy and whatever, and like that's cool and I get that, but at the same time, if you want to be your authentic self, then you kind of need to think about, okay, I know like on the surface level, my ego is like very drawn to go along with the trends and be the most trendiest person in the room with the newest handbag, the newest shoes, the prettiest hair color, the best looking like face, makeup, things, whatever. But it's all part of the illusion. Like that is the Matrix's way of kind of pulling you into the game, into the like game of life, let's say. At some point, you will probably realize that you are kind of being yourself, but you're not exactly the person you want to be, or someone who you would even look up to as a younger child. And then you kind of have to start thinking like, okay, when was the last time I looked up to myself as a person? And when I was like really proud of myself. And for me, for example, that time was when I was very young and I just used to love drawing. I loved it. I was drawing like every day when I came home from school. That was the first thing I did, and that was the last thing I did before going to bed. And I really admire that I had that kind of dedication to something because I loved it so much. So if you have something that you loved as a kid, maybe it's your passion and you just have kind of forgotten about it because it's like hidden deep under all of these layers of your like personality that you've developed during the years. And I would just advise you to like kind of think about that person you were when you were just like starting to develop. We're all living for the first time in our lives. And I think we all have to give ourselves grace if we kind of sway away from our path. But at the same time, try to remember what we came here to do. Like what it is that you really want to do. What's your purpose in life? Like what's the thing that your heart is drawn to do? I used to love filming videos. When we went to like family vacations, I was always filming myself or my family or my surroundings with my phone. And I think to this day, I have like 20,000 photos on my phone or something, like a crazy amount that I don't even need or I don't even look at. But it's something that I really enjoyed doing as a little kid. And I started thinking to myself like, okay, but why did I stop? Why did I stop doing that? Because I also did it when we were like hanging out with my friends sometimes as well in my like home country. And I live in a society where unfortunately people judge other people a lot. Instead of like minding their own business, they would rather go out of their way to like judge someone. And I think it's very bizarre because like why should you give your energy away to someone if you don't even like them, you know, if you're like judging them in like a negative way. But yeah, that's just besides the point. Anyways, and I remember I stopped filming myself and I stopped like thinking about doing YouTube videos. Like I was very young, let me remind you, I was like 13 or something. So it was like 10 years ago that I've forgotten this part of myself for like 10 years. I stopped filming myself because of other people's opinions and because of the society I'm in, because of my surroundings, because of the people that are around me. And I just kind of gave that part of myself up in order to blend in with my surroundings. You are a product of your environment. And if you don't have a supportive environment, it's very difficult for you to actually grow and evolve. So you kind of have to remind yourself that your environment doesn't always have to define who you are. For example, in my country, we speak Estonian, and a lot of people make content on YouTube in Estonian as well. And I think it's really cool that we have this like community of Estonians and people like can consume content in their local language, because I think it's very valuable. But at the same time, I feel like that's not for me, because English has always been something that comes to me like so naturally. Even when I was a little kid, I used to only watch cartoons in English, some classic Estonian ones as well. But in general, like English ones were the ones that I was more drawn to. So it's something that again comes naturally to me. And if I journal, I do it both in Estonian and English, like it's a mixture. And I don't want to give like this part of myself up just to fit in with the society standards. So that's why I was like, okay, but like, who cares? I mean, if these people want to judge me, then that's on them. So I think kind of letting go of those other people's expectations and your environment's expectations of you is also very important. And I think life is just like such a beautiful thing, and we should not waste it on other people's like opinions or letting them like tear us down, because people are always going to have those opinions. And I think if you want to be authentically yourself, then you have to like not be afraid of other people's opinions. And again, I'm just speaking of personal like experience, but if you look at the most like richest people in the world, they're like never consumed with other people's opinions, because it would take away such a big part of their time. And in that time that they would spend thinking about those opinions, they would have already made so much more money if they would have just like put that time towards working. Showing up as your authentic self is the biggest way you can raise your vibration. Well, I have someone I know, let's say, he's not a friend, but he's always himself, like unapologetically. And I have mad respect for him for that. Every second of every day, he's showing up as himself. And that raises his vibration to such a high level that even if you took all of the people who know him and put them into the same room, they would always be like, oh yeah, he's always like that. Like we would all know the like main characteristic traits of that person. I used to have a lot of friends who were kind of a different part of my personality, because I'm a very versatile person, and it's so hard sometimes to find people who kind of get that. We should always be changing. Like we should always, as humans, be in a constant like flow and like changing and growing and evolving. And it's very hard to find like-minded people who understand that one day I might have an opinion, but the next day I might wake up and be like, oh my God, yesterday I learned this. Now I have a completely different opinion of this topic. Like, or now I don't know, for example, I've dyed my hair dark for like the past 5 years. I don't know, like a long time. Yeah, I think for the past 5 years I have had very dark hair, and I love this look on me. But recently, as I saw my hair like growing out a little bit, I was like, wait, like why on earth did I ever dye my hair? Like I have such beautiful hair color naturally. Like why did I even like... And now I just decided that I'm not going to dye it again, because I want to be my authentic self. Like I want to be the person I'm actually born to be. And if I like go back to my natural hair color and then I decide like, okay, this doesn't feel like the authentic me, then I can always change it back, you know? But you can never like know if you don't try, if you don't give yourself the chance to be your authentic self. Society has conditioned us to believe that we need to go down a certain path in life, and that's like the only path we can go down. Is it something that you authentically want, or is it something that society has conditioned you to believe that you want in order to keep you in that cycle? I think a lot of people nowadays have these phones and cars and homes and computers and everything that they actually don't own, they just have it on loan. We have like idolized this way of living, when in reality, like, life doesn't happen on social media, life doesn't happen on your phone, life happens like outside of your phone. We should all be looking at things like, is it something that I'm authentically drawn and aligned with, or is it something that I'm conditioned to believe that I want? And I know that raising these critical questions towards society might be triggering for a lot of people, but I don't think this is a conversation that we should be having like privately. I think this is a conversation we should like all be sharing together, because like, who wouldn't want to be their authentic selves the way that they showed up into the world? In my country, it's like super popular. If you have a BMW, you're like the it person, you're like a made guy. Recently I went on a walk, and one of my very old acquaintances like walked past me, and then afterwards I was like crossing the road, and a BMW stopped like in front of the crossroad or whatever and flashed its lights to me. And I was like, I didn't know it was the same person, so I was kind of like, okay, why is this person like flashing their lights? It's super weird. It was like 10 p.m. or something as well. And I was like, okay, this kind of behavior just gives me the biggest ick. If you're doing things like that, then you're not your authentic self. Yes, there are people who actually like appreciate the car, the brand, and enjoy it. And as ironic as it is, including me as well, I very much love like BMWs. I think they're very like nice cars. I'm not saying that it's a bad car. I'm just saying that if you are getting the car and you actually don't know anything about the history or the background or like the models or everything, then you should like reconsider if you're getting it just for social status, or if it's something that you actually want authentically. The next thing in being your authentic self is know your worth. You know, you kind of know that certain behaviors that people do might not align with the things you like, and it's okay to reject them for doing so. If you want to know what your worth is, just think about how you on the inside react to things, what are going on in the outside world. Okay, so one of my friends recently had a housewarming party, and there weren't a lot of people there. It was just like in the beginning, and then we were talking for like an hour or so, and I kind of felt that I didn't want to be there anymore. I felt like it's draining me rather than like providing me with something. Like, it's not an exchange of like good energies. It's just like I'm just sitting there and it's super boring. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to go, because I don't feel like this environment aligns with my authentic self. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go. Like, I don't feel like it. I just want to go home, chill, relax. And that's that. And I think situations like that are there for you to like learn from them. At any minute of any given moment, you can start authentically aligning with yourself and stop certain behaviors. Like, just like that. It's a conscious choice, and sometimes you might go back to the default programming your brain has. So you kind of have to reprogram your brain every time to like say no to certain things, or maybe say yes to certain things, so that you can show up as your authentic self. But it's super important for you to like start to remember what you used to like before all the social conditioning. Start to reconsider your choices in life, because they might not be yours and you might prefer a whole different other life. And start showing up the way you want to show up, and leaving situations that no longer serve your highest purpose and that no longer serve your authentic self. Like, even if I was in the room with the like coolest people in the world, in my opinion, and the vibe would be off, I would still leave. I would be like, okay, maybe those people aren't that cool in my opinion then, and that's okay. It's okay to change your opinion on things and kind of unlearn everything you've learned and then relearn like about the things you really want. And I think that's very important. So just a cute little talk with you guys today after my walk, because I had these thoughts and I could not get them out of my head. And I hope you enjoyed. If you want to continue hearing me ramble and give unsolicited advice about life as I'm going through it in my 20s, then subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, then feel free to leave a like, a comment, or if there's a specific topic you would like me to do research on and then discuss with you guys, then leave a comment down below and I'll be happy to talk about anything you're interested in. Yeah, see you next time.